Hello. Thank you for joining us today. I think we might be still waiting on a couple more people, but we will probably just start it. This is being recorded, so this is our first one for the year, first Atlassian Community Event for the year. Pretty exciting. We're looking forward to this one. And today I'm joined by Megan and Ash, who will be your hosts. And today we're going to be talking about how you can deliver customer projects more seamlessly with the help of Jira Service Management and Jira software. All right, so that's it from me. I'm going to go on mute and hand you over to Meg. I'll see you later. Bye.
Thanks, Nadia, and welcome again, everyone. Today we're going to run through our approach to using Jira Service Management, Jira software, and Confluence to deliver customer projects seamlessly. We'll start with the why and why we're doing this to provide you with some context, and then we're going to run you through the architecture that sits behind it and explains the how. Then we'll look at it from a customer's point of view with the portal and how you can publish your content and share and work with your customers. And this will be followed by a demonstration where we take you through how it works in real life. And as Nadia mentioned, at the end, there'll be an opportunity for you to ask some questions. So we'll get started. I'd like to introduce my colleague, Ash Pitt. He's a senior consultant here at Strategenics. He's our Atlassian wizard and a self-confessed Atlassian nerd. He has over 10 years experience in the tech industry, and his main superpowers are developing effective automation and collaboration outcomes to bring product dreams to life. And myself, I'm Meg Wedding. I'm a business analyst. I have a background in implementing and managing Atlassian solutions, and I'm passionate about learning and about user experience. Now, we are going to head straight into why we're doing this. So I'm just going to hand you over to my colleague, Ash.
Very cool. Thanks, Meg. So as we should all know from the call, Jira software is part of a family of products designed to help all kinds of teams manage work. Sometimes, though, you may want to engage as a team or delivery project with people, or for example, customers outside of the organization. So what we're talking about here is, when you establish the delivery with a customer, if you bring them all into Jira software, there's things like permissions, costs, and functionality that can, factor in how you best work with that customer as well. So for example, here with costs, so if we're looking at this screen on the top here, every user consumes a license fee. So for example, if you had a project team of 5 people, but you needed to add 100 customers across 5 organizations, you'd need in total 105 Jira software licenses. If they need access to documentation in Confluence, that's also another 105. So those totals obviously can add up, especially if you're running projects in that way. There's also simplicity as well. So if you are wanting to use Jira software alone to deliver those projects, then there is some complexities around reviewing functions in project roles, in permission schemes and those kind of things. And then that can get quite unwieldy as well and can take a bit of time and effort. And then also functionality. So one of the things when you're working with an external customer, it's essentially like with Jira Service Management, they're a customer. So there's going to be times where you might want to have internal comments purely about just talking about the thing that you're working on without the customer necessarily seeing that, because they just don't need to. So Jira software is being designed for teams is all around, everybody's working and we can do all of that, whereas Jira Service Management has this awesome functionality around internal comments and external. So that's kind of, so if you're using Jira software, you may need to work out how different ways you can engage with your team that's not necessarily in Jira, which kind of defeats the whole point. So today we're just going to show you how you can use Jira Service Management, Jira software, and Confluence collectively effectively to manage those customer projects as well. Just so that way it's also secure for your customers, so they see just what they need to see, reduces cost to yourself, and does not, by not occupying a seat that's just for that. But I'll pass to Meg to provide a high-level overview of the products we'll demo today and how we use them.
Thanks, Ash. So as Ash mentioned, we use Jira Service Management. We create a self-service portal for our customers. And here we can record our work and publish relevant documentation to make it easier to collaborate throughout project delivery. We provide access for our customer stakeholders to a dedicated service project in the portal. And here they can view the overview of the project. We can publish documentation around our deliverables or sprint plans. But they're also able to view any of the issues within our sprints and provide guidance and expertise to those throughout delivery. They're also able to raise deliverables and bugs during testing and review any other related documentation. We find that when we work in the same tool, we promote a single source of truth for our customers, and that allows us to report and provide transparency of current state, future state, and record any decisions that have been made along the way. It also supports our delivery when we come to the end of our sprints and we present a no surprise showcase where everything has been shared and communicated throughout the sprint and it's available for review. So there truly are no surprises. We use Jira software. So as we all know, Jira was designed as a bug and issue tracker originally, but now it's evolved into a much more powerful work management tool. And there's all kinds of use cases that can be configured to fit any type of project. We use Jira software to deliver our projects following the Agile methodology, and we utilize Scrum boards to deliver our projects on time and on track with our commitments. Through our experience of using the tools ourselves, we came to know some of the challenges associated with working on internal projects with external customers, as Ash has gone over briefly already. One of the key drivers for us in using the tools this way is to provide visibility of our project deliverables to our customers in an easy and simple way that reduces costs and eliminates duplication as much as possible. An added bonus of using the tools that we're often implementing with our customers is that we are also training our customers to use them and push them further along the way. We find it's a good way to introduce customers who've never used the tools before to using them in this way. And also when we have customers who've used them before, they can push them further and they can learn what they can expect as a customer, agent, or a user. And to bring it all together, we also use Confluence to ensure we're all on the same page. This allows us to share documentation with our customers through the customer portal, ensuring that we're all of the same understanding when it comes to our business requirements or our project deliverables. We use this for meeting notes, decisions, product requirements, and project configuration. So that's just a quick overview of the tools, and now I'll hand you back to Ash to take you through the architecture of how it works.
Unmute, that'll do it. Okay, cool. So yeah, so here this document, so it's just very basic high level view as to how we're pretty much what we're going to demonstrate today. So on the right hand side, you'll see that there's the Jira Service Management configuration. So what we have here is we have customers that belong within their own organizations. So in turn, associated with their relevant projects. So in this example, you can see one organization is associated with project A, project B, etc. Now, while most service management projects have a service management workflow, the cool thing about it, Jira Service Management being built on top of Jira software, is that if you have a particular workflow that works for you and your customers, that's what can be your service management workflow, and you can have that in there. But essentially, if I was leaning on the example of the 5 users and 100 customers that I was talking about before, one of the things around this would be that those 5 users would belong to projects A, B, and C, and be joining there. And the customers would just exist as customers, and one of the amazing things is that customers are free. So you can just join that way. Sorry, you can just set up that way. Now, if I go into the Jira software side of things, so the way that we're setting up Jira software for this project is purely about essentially managing it for us as an internal team to manage the workflow. So we can have one Jira project, but we can have a project board for projects A, B, and C, but also all projects as well. So I'll go in and show you how that works. But also we can have that where you can essentially use that for stand-ups and project stand-ups with your external customers. So you've got that nice, whether it's Kanban or Scrum board, whichever you use, a nice visual to share with them as well. And then finally over to Confluence. So as Meg mentioned before, we've got the spaces you can create. You can have that for internal documentation, such as product requirements, sprint, or meeting notes, but ideally knowledge base, but also project documentation. So documentation that your customers can access via that portal securely at any time without having to consume that Confluence license. And so now I'll just pass you back to Meg just to go into a few more things about the customer portals.
Thanks, Ash. So by customizing the customer portal, you can ensure that your customers see all relevant information they need in the right place while delivering a consistent brand experience. We've added some examples here to show you how it looks for different customers. You'll see here that your customers will only be able to see the projects that you have granted them access to. So in example A, this customer can view all 3 projects. And in example B, the customer can only view the 1 project. When we're in the delivery phase of our projects, we are often sharing and updating documentation based on our customer requirements. Our customers have often come to us because they are fatigued by email and looking for ways to manage their work in a more streamlined and simple way. By creating a central source of truth linked to the service project, we are able to manage our customers' expectations. They know that to find any of the documentation for the project that we're working on, they can simply visit the portal and find all of the relevant project overviews, how-to articles, and other knowledge base documentation. To present our content in a more organized way, we add a link to the portal announcement to direct our customers to our documentation, and customers who click on this link are then taken to the overview page of our Confluence space. And we'll go into a little bit more detail of that when we go through our demonstration a little bit further on. In terms of our overview, we can control what content we share and how it's presented to our customers. We find this often changes in the duration of the project. So at the start, it may heavily focus on project documentation and configuration. And as we move forward, this page will feature more content regarding how-to articles and content for review. The best part of working with content this way is that we don't work with complex permissions. Once we're ready to share something on the portal, we simply add the relevant labels to the page and it will then appear in the macros automatically and be available for our customers to review. When we're ready to discuss a particular item, say for example, an article, we can share a link from the customer portal into the Jira issue that we're working on with the customer, so then they can review and access that easily. I'm going to hand back to Ash now, and he's going to introduce our demo team.
Yeah, exciting times. All right, so as you can see, this is the demo team, the scenario that we're going to present. So we've got showing where Jira Service Management comes in and who's playing in that role, Jira Software and Confluence. So I'd like to introduce to you our demo team. In case you may not have noticed as well, there's a little bit of a geek type of theme with Spider-Man and the DC characters. If you've joined any of our previous ones, it was DC, but I just wanted to mix it up because Spider-Verse is an amazing film. If you haven't seen it already, highly advise that you do. Now, what we're going to be going through in the demo here is that we've you can see in Jira Service Management, we've got our customers. So I've kept the same same scenario of project A, B, and C. But you can see we've got Spider-Man, so Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen, I think she's called, or whatever, as those customers as part of Project C. We'll be spending time in Project C for this demo, so I'll show you that in a moment. Then, and so those guys are the free licenses, the customers, free licenses that I was talking about. Not free licenses, but not charged. Then you've got our team, our DC team, which have no correlation to the Marvel universe, but I won't talk about that on this call. You've got Bruce, Diana, and Barry. Barry is going to be our agent or our user that I'm going to use to demonstrate and take you through as well. So that's kind of the scenarios that we're going to be doing. So I will just start to share my, next screen. I love this one. It's demo time. Hooray. What could possibly go wrong? So I'll share my screen now. Share screen here. All right. Okay, so here on my screen, you can see that I've logged in. I'm in the portal view. I'm in here as Spider-Gwen. That's what I'm calling her. And you can see here that I can have a look at every item, every issue that's being created across the organization that I'm with. Now, I'll show you the view afterwards, but as Meg showed on the slide, if you had access to more projects, you'd see a different type of view. But this is the essential view if you have access to just one of those projects. Now, as far as that documentation link that Meg was talking about, you can have that appear in the portal here. And this will give you access to all of that relevant information that is available to a customer. One of the things as well that's really cool is that you get some insights around who's viewed these articles and all of that as part of this. I'll save that for a bit as well. So the way that we've set up this project is that from the customer perspective, we put it down, report a bug or suggest a new feature, which is standard out of the box portal, request types. However, you can call that whatever you want. You could say raise a deliverable or raise an issue or do something else, or even not have anything there. It could just be for people to come in and view that information. But the whole idea then is that when there is an issue that's here, your customer can interact with it, have a look at this as far as the description, add comments, do all kinds of things. I'll go through this when I go into the other side of the system as well, but from a Jira workflow, so just a standard workflow, you can select which options are available to customers in the portal as well. So if there's an option like approving a piece to be done, that's where it could be here, where they could go, yep, click approve, and it's done, moves it through your workflow. So if I go now into the view from the agent/user perspective, I'm now logged in as Barry, and you can see here that I've got my master project, which is the Jira software project we're talking about, but also these projects that are all service management. So what I'll do now is I'll just take you through into the service management pieces, because they're the most important ones. That's where all the good stuff happens. So in the example here, you can raise your requests, like raise a request on behalf of the customer, or you can create the project, create the deliverable, I guess you could say, from the normal create issue screen, and that will create that in Jira. In the Jira Service Management project. As far as the types of issues that you can see here, you might have noticed that on the portal, I just had bug and new feature, but we've also got things like tasks and subtasks. So one of the great things about this is that you can have your customer facing issue types and actually have issue types that are related just to yourselves internally. So it doesn't necessarily have to be viewed with the customer. So it might be, we need to deliver this, but then there are all these subtasks that you need to do and just track yourselves. And then you can have that working along quite nicely. Now, as far as the knowledge bases are concerned, or about the customer facing documentation, this is where you can actually set that up with the actual knowledge base, that Confluence site itself. So you can see that it's hooking up all of the relevant documents there, which will in turn actually help hook into some some automation and those kind of things. One of the other things that's quite nifty as well with the shortcuts is that when you've got this set up as your service project, but you want to go to your boards or your Scrum boards within the Jira project, you can always just go, backlog view and, active team board, and you can have that view in there from that project. Now, so just as an example, with one of the most important things on these type of projects is because it's all about locking that down for your customer. You will want to make sure that your customer permissions are set up that customers are only added by agents and admins. If everybody can have access to your project, then kind of defeats the purpose. So that's one of the main things there. And as far as your knowledge base, just ensuring that whatever space you attach to this, you can have all logged in users as opposed to only Confluence users, because that'll generate that license there. Some other things that you can do, little nifty things, is use a little bit of automation when it comes down to the project. So there's lots of out-of-the-box stuff that you can just click and boom, it's just there instantly. But one of the things that if you're creating this project on behalf of your customer and you're creating a new feature within Jira, the only way that a customer can actually see an issue that you create is for it to be a customer request type. So you can just have some simple automation that once you create an issue, if things, for example, the request type isn't, so if you create, say, a new feature request or something like that, and you haven't put in the request type and all of that, you can just have some nifty automation in the background that just does that all for you. So I'll be creating that in a moment. That's just a few of the high level things around the view. So what I'll do now is I'll just quickly go back to Gwen's view and I'll raise an issue. So we'll go here and we'll just go, actually I'll just go suggest a new feature. So for those who've seen Spider-Verse, they all end up coming in from different dimensions and whatnot, and get all stuck in there. So they want help to get back home. So it's like, help me out. And part of that is, how do you stop the collider? Oh, this is an interesting one. Okay, that's cool. That's my knowledge base. But just, I still need help. Help me out, please. I want to get back home. Alrighty. So what we'll do is we'll send that, and that's now gone to our good friends in Project C. So if I go back to the Project C now, I've set up some automated assignment and those kind of things, but you can see here that help me out please has been created, and it's actually been assigned to myself, to Barry, which is quite nifty. So I can see that this is here in the portal. Before I go into how this looks there, I'll just quickly show you that in the Jira master software project, that it also appears in the backlog there as well. Now, one of the things that we've got set up here is that we can have a look at the knowledge base, and we can see that it's come up with, suggesting a few articles there. So you can see actually how to stop the collider is one of them. So you could actually easily share that as a comment. Say, hey, Spider Gwen, how to stop collider is how you do it. And you can have that reply to customer, which will go straight to Gwen. Or if you wanted to add an internal note, hey, Bruce Wayne might need your help here because you know a lot about tech and all that kind of stuff. So you can always do that too. Plenty of other functionality that you can do with this project, but just for the sake of time, this is how we're looking at that. And then we can move that then, you know, into progress. So we can see that we've got a very simple workflow set up for this, but once again, it's just in line with the customer managed portal, customer service portal there. All right. I will try that again in a moment. So I'm going to move this to in progress. So that's the service management side of things. But then when you're talking to your customer, this is where the master project comes in handy. So here you can choose which projects you want. So we've got one where you can go look at all projects and grab it all in that way, or you can go to the specific project C. We've set up the backlog view as mentioned, where you can prioritize and move that. And then we've got our Kanban view here. So you can see this is the issue that Gwen has just raised. So it's all in that nice Kanban flow. One of the things that we can also do, so we've got our tasks, right? So we're just going to throw these in here into progress and go back to the Kanban. So this is all internal work. So you can create a quick filter, for example, that just says disregard every, just don't show every project that's in, or every issue that's internal. So that way, when you're talking to your customer, whether via a stand-up or a catch-up, you can just make sure that you're showing just the issues that relate to them. So it's just a nice visual way of doing it. But it just means that you can easily move this along the board, get it done in that sense. Let's see, the other thing as well is that with the board configuration, so you can actually see the description, but you can select up to 3 items that appear on this active view. So for example, you can see who reported that, the request type, and anything else really that you wanted to kind of put in there as well. I will say that there are some limitations doing this way as well. Unfortunately, because the roadmap function is just for a single project and we're doing some things pretty cleverly in here, the roadmap function isn't available. So just bearing in mind that, for this, it's really just about managing that workflow and using it that way. So, and then, one thing I will show you is that automation piece that I was talking about before, where I go back here and two things. Sorry, I do this sometimes. So the new feature for automation. So as we can see, I cannot spell, but I've also only just put in the basic stuff that's needed. And when I create this one here and I go into the new feature, you'll see that it is going to, it's automatically added my request type, added the organization so my customer can see it. And I've actually put an internal automation note on there as well to say, hey, it is now available for customers to view in the portal. So the one other piece that I just wanted to show you in regards to Jira, and then I'll pass over to Meg, is just as far as your configuration for the Jira project, you just want to make sure that whatever the permission scheme that you've got, you cannot create issues. And the reason being is that it's not going to break the internet if you create an issue within this Jira software project. It just means that you're not going to have to move it out of this Jira software project into a relevant customer project. That's all. So here you can see that I can't create issues within this project if I'm in this view, but then it provides the option of which customer project I can create that issue with. And that's the demo for the moment from Jira Software and Jira Software Management. I'll stop sharing my screen, and Meg, back over to you.
Thanks, Ash. I think we all just got an education on Spider-Man and all the characters. Well, I certainly did. So I will just share my screen now, and we're just going to talk briefly around Confluence and how it can support you in your delivery. So where Ash just was then was in Project C. So I'm in Jira at the moment, and you can view all of your knowledge base articles and drafts in here as well. And you can get the direct shareable URL here. And so when we're in our Spider-Verse, that's the link that we put here that will take us into that overview page. So you can just copy and have that one there and then link it through when you're on the overview page in the customer portal. When we click into that, it'll take us into that overview page, and you can have this as your landing page where you really structure how you're going to share your information. So we're using Confluence as there's two things really here. We do use the knowledge base and have searchable articles in there as well. But we do use this to present our documentation and to help our customers keep on track with how we're going with the project, and review those documents if we need to sign off on certain items as well. So you'll see here, we've put in just some imagery to show you that you can have all of this showing through the customer portal. It does look slightly different to what you may see in Confluence. So when it comes through into the customer portal, you may see a slight difference in the way that it presents, but it's largely the same. And then we're using some content by label macros to bring in things like meeting notes. We often get a requirement from our customers to share any of our meeting notes from our previous meetings. So in here, you can either bring it at the high level where you've got the incomplete tasks, and that will allow them to see this, all decisions, and then the table of all meeting notes, or you could bring in each one dependent on the structure of your project and how you're sharing your information and how much you want to share as well on the portal. So you may not want to share all of your meeting notes at this point. But you can see here, you can then deep dive into the links that sit underneath here, and you can see we're going to save the world today. Watch out, everyone. But this way you just get a central source of truth for your customers when they're coming through, and everyone is working in the same environment. I'm just going to jump back into this one. And then we've also got our knowledge base articles just showing here, and this is showing by label as well. So that's just a content by label macro that's showing in there. What we'll do now is just head back into our Confluence space. So this is in the Confluence view for a Confluence user, so not necessarily what your customers would be seeing. But in here, you can also be drafting internal documents. So we will often use this to draft and edit our content before we're ready to send it on to our customers to view in their portal. So we use labels to be able to publish onto that overview page. So I've got a draft page here, Spider-Man, not Spider-Man. And if I'm ready to then start to share that back on my overview page, it's picking it up. I could put it in potentially either the quick links or the knowledge base. The tag that this macro is using is the knowledge base how-to article, and this one is content. So I'm just going to head back into my Spider-Man article, and I'll just add the knowledge base how-to here just to demonstrate how easy it is to then push that into your overview page. And you can see now that I've added that label, it's now visible for our customers to see. And it just makes it a little bit easier when it's part of the navigation here. So it does just make us ensure that this table, this landing page is friendly so that it makes sense for the flow of how our customers will engage with our content. And that we've got consistent labels that we use and a consistent way of working within our project team as well. So we all understand what the cause and effect is of each of those processes or the changes in a label, and how that will then work for our customers. Everything exists within here. You can get direct links. If you go back into the Jira project and you have a look, you'll be able to get the direct links from in the articles link. And you can share those directly with your customers, but we always find having it intuitive for them on the user use a landing page and allowing them to navigate the trees themselves as well also helps them to engage with the product and ensure that they know that that's the place to come for any of the documentation related to their project. You can also move these into the trees around here, but it's really the labels for us that drive where that sits on the page for our customers and ensures that it's visible for them. The overview of the Confluence side of things. Does anyone have any questions in relation to Confluence?
Hi guys, Meg, Ash, thank you very much. My name's Mitch. Hadn't looked through the Jira software stuff before, very familiar with ServiceNow. Was really good to see how you guys have structured that in terms of giving access to customers. It was all quite intuitive, I thought, and some really good tips, I guess, on how to make that flow kind of easy for customers. And yes, the movie was good.
Nice, thanks, Mitch. I think part of what we've demonstrated today as well is just purely with Jira, like with all the standard products out of the box. What I didn't mention is that there are thousands of marketplace apps. So if there's something that you're seeing there that's like, oh, that would be great, but I really need this, chances are there's probably a solution out there that can help that as well.
The questions from anybody else, or does anyone have any suggestions? We're more than happy to take suggestions for another ACE event that we could present to you on if there's something that you're curious about or you'd like to know more about.
I will ask a question just around workflow. In that configuration, you're obviously using that customer portal to enable customers to ask or raise issues. Do you get kind of confusion between, this is actually a project issue, risk, or just you get a bit of noise through that channel because it's not specific? I guess it depends a little bit on how you've got it configured and the wording. And but what's your experience with that portal and that setup?
Yeah, so what we find is that when we set up our customers, we'll kind of give them a high level, onboarding. I think the main takeaway from it is just keeping it simple. So we don't provide a whole heap of options. It's not like you're going to a service desk and you've got all of these, I need to raise this type of request or this type of request. For us, we just really want to keep it quite simple from the customer side. So it's either an issue or it's something that they need, and we word it in that fashion, and then we can bring that in there. When we're depending on the customer and the type of project and all of that as well, we can, easily, sometimes we'll easily configure or add things along the way. But at the end of the day, with our customers, we just want to keep that piece really simple, so it does reduce that confusion. But part of having that service project as well, even though we as an organization would have lots of different customer projects going on, in the most part, when our customers join it, they'll know exactly where they need to go. So that Spider Gwen view that I showed before, that's kind of generally what most of them would see. They would go there and they're like, I have some documentation to look at, I have to raise something, I can't do much else. So that hopefully that answers your question.
Yep, nice and clean. Thanks, Ash.
All right, I think we have a question from Vivek. All right, so question from Vivek is, for searching the labels for the customer, can Confluence restrict them from accessing any content?
So searching for the labels from the customer portal, Vivek? Yes. So if we enact restrictions on the pages, it will restrict it for the customer. So we just add a page restriction on there so that it's kept hidden. Because of the way that it's working, it's bringing back the articles. So if there's something that is very sensitive, I would suggest doing restrictions on the page, just to ensure that it isn't discoverable in any way on the customer portal.
Spider-Man did return home in the end. So thanks everyone for helping with that.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll share this on our YouTube the next day or so. So feel free to check that out as well or share it around. And hopefully we'll see everyone at the next event. All right, thanks again, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.